briefing for us. It'll be emailed out. Committee, we're going to go out of order today since Representative Bloom is able to testify. So we'll turn our attention to the hearing on 2124. Adam, if you could give us a briefing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2124 would name two sections of highway and a bridge, commemoratively name them. The first section would be for the Corporal Monty Wayne Forrest Memorial Highway, and this would be U.S. Highway Section 160 from the eastern city limits of Argonia, then east on U.S. Highway 160 to its junction with Eden Road. Section 2 would name the portion of U.S. Highway 77 from its junction with Interstate 70, north on U.S. Highway 77 in Geary County to the western junction with U.S. Highway 24 in Riley County. This would be kind of a bifurcated section where there's currently a road named in the middle, so it'd be one little section and another section. The second portion would be north on U.S. Highway 77 from the eastern junction with U.S. Highway 24 to the junction with K16, excuse me. And this would be named the POW MIA Memorial Highway. Then lastly, there would be a bridge located on K82 Highway in Clay County, designated as the POW MIA Memorial Bridge. All three sections would be subject to the current requirements whereby the signs would not be placed until the Secretary of Transportation has received the cost of the signs plus 50%. And with that, I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Committee questions for Adam? Seeing none, thank you. First proponent will have Representative Bloom. Welcome to the committee.
Honored guests, veterans, and committee members, it is a profound honor to stand before you today as we officially recognize and dedicate a lasting tribute to the brave men and women who have sacrificed so much for our country. Today, we gather to designate a portion of U.S. Highway 77 and a bridge on K82 as a POW MIA Memorial Highway. A solemn and enduring reminder of those who served, those who were taken prisoner, and those who never returned home. This dedication is more than just a renaming of roads and bridges. It is a commitment by our community, our state, and our nation to never forget the sacrifices of our prisoners of war and those missing in action. These are not just names etched in a history book. They are fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, and friends who answered the call of duty and paid the ultimate price for our freedom. The portion of U.S. Highway 77 that we recognize today runs from a junction with Interstate 70, north through Geary County, to its junction with U.S. Highway 24 in Riley County, and then further north to its junction with K16 Highway, a distance around 41 miles. Along this route, thousands of travelers will see the signs designating it as a POW MIA Memorial Highway. Each time they do, they will be reminded of the courage, resilience, and sacrifice of these heroes. Additionally, we honor Bridge number 82 on K82 Highway in Clay County, now officially designated as the POW MIA Memorial Bridge. This bridge serves as both a physical and symbolic connection, linking generations together through a shared duty to remember for those who lost but were never forgotten. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the dedication of those who worked tirelessly to make this designation possible, from local veterans organizations and community advocates to our state leaders and the Kansas Department of Transportation. Your efforts ensure that the legacy of our POWs and MIA lives on. To the families of those who have been affected, we recognize your pain, your strength, and your resilience. This highway and bridge stand in honor of your loved ones, ensuring that their sacrifice is never forgotten and their memory is forever embedded in the fabric of our state and nation. As we unveil these designations today, let us commit ourselves to honoring our prisoners of war and those missing in action, not just with words, but with action by supporting veterans, advocating for those still unaccounted for, and ensuring that we always uphold the values that they fought to protect. May this highway serve as a reminder of their journey, their sacrifice, and our promise to never forget. May this bridge stand as a symbol of hope, connection, and remembrance. Thank you, and may we always honor those who served and sacrificed for our great nation. Do we have any questions?
Committee questions.
All right, thank you.
Senator Albright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to publicly say thank you. This goes through part of my district in Geary County, and thank you to all the veterans present and those listening. Thank you very much.
Committee, further questions? Next up, we have John Grand, BFW Post 774. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Chairman, committee members. I'm truly honored to be here. It's the first time I've been to the Capitol. Beautiful building, really, really nice. This is important to me. I'm the commander at the Wakefield VFW. I've been a military for 27 years, just shortly of that. And during that, I learned a lot of things. I went a lot of places, saw some stuff I didn't think I would. Put that in my testimony. You can read some of that if you choose. One of the things that I learned when my time in the military was I felt that I got some of the sacrifices that other veterans get when they serve. They give up time with family, they're away. They see things that maybe they might remember later they don't want to remember, and they see a lot of things they want to remember. I spent time working at Fort Carson at the newborn nursery. I met a gentleman in the elevator that I went to high school with him, and went up, and his wife just had a baby. Got to see them. Some really nice things, good memories. But with that, the things that I experienced in my family, there was even one time my wife got a Red Cross message. I was on my way back for a funeral of her father that passed away, but the message she got back was that I was injured and I was en route to Landstuhl, Germany. And that's all they could tell her. So she spent 2 days. She didn't know to talk to my daughter. She didn't know to tell my mom. So it was really, really hard on her. But those are things that happen. It was a day later that I finally called from Kuwait. She also got a message from the Red Cross saying it was a mistake, that I was actually on my way home. Service members and their family members go through those, a normal part of serving. That's pales to what I think POW or MIA family goes through, and those service members that could be captured, tortured, or anything else. So I think sometimes I get a little bit of it. The rest is what we see in movies and that. And going back to that, the reason I think this, making a memorial bridge and a highway, Kansas doesn't have one right now. And when I grew up, I didn't know anything about the military. I just got a whim one day I was going to join, and I joined. And it wasn't until about 10 years in, after my grandfather passed, I got his photo album of World War II. I didn't even know he was in the Army. I didn't know he was. My father gave it to me and gave me his flag and said, "Dad never talked about the war." And he didn't. I never even knew. But it's important that we remember, and that's what dedicating this bridge and this highway will do for those Kansas residents that drive over it and see the sign. Sometimes it's just a little thing, but it means something. And one thing I saw in the building here, I was really impressed when I saw your cage elevator. And one of the things it says, whereas it's critical that historical items at lasting interest are preserved, just like we need to do memorials and remember those things. And that's all I got. If you have any questions, I really appreciate your time and efforts.
Committee questions for John? Seeing none, thank you. And I saw you run the stairs, so beat me up and I'll take the elevator. Next up, we have Glenn Nelson, also from Wakefield.
Hello, thank you for allowing me to speak in the committee today. My name is Glenn Nelson. I'm retired, 24 years service with the Army National Guard and active duty. I'm a disabled veteran, lifetime member of VFW and Disabled American Veterans Groups. I'm the POW MIA chairman for our post in Wakefield. And in doing that research, I've been researching and talking to POW MIA family members. And I found and was very surprised when I learned that Kansas did not have a POW MIA memorial bridge or highway. I will say that most states do, and so I decided to do something about that, and it's a learning process trying to figure out how to get something like this done. But this is part of this is acknowledging a veteran. This bill has a veteran, a portion of highway named for a memorial. And I could have done that, but I decided to make these for all POW MIAs. Kansas has currently 1,179 who are still missing, unaccounted for, have never came back from war that we sent them to. Now, the federal government is looking to find those, locate them, and bring them back home. But what we can do at the state level is to, like we said, designate a bridge and highway so people can not forget about them. So Kansas does a great job. I see so many different memorial bridges and highways, but there are so many, there's too many to do individual names, which is why I just wanted to pull them all into one category. So I have 4 stories listed just from our little town in Wakefield. We have 4 that are associated that were POW MIAs, and there's all different categories. If I have time, I want to at least mention one of those or tell you the story of one of those. And I joined the VFW. I met an older gentleman, Russell Jevons. He was a World War II veteran, but that's all I knew. And then as time went on, I gradually found out, not from him, but from others, that he was shot down over France in World War II, December 31st, 1943, a time when those crew members were, every time they went up in the plane, they faced, most of them are not going to come home. Most of them don't survive the 25 missions. And so, anyway, his plane got shot down on his 3rd mission, and miraculously, all 10 of the crew members made it to the ground. 7 of the 10 were captured. Our local, Mr. Jevons, was never captured. He evaded capture. He linked up with the French underground, crossed the mountains into Spain in the dead of winter, and finally made it home. And he was one of the very rare ones who actually did make it home after being missing. So there's 4 other stories listed on your sheet. Mr. Jevons, if you look up him and you Google him or do a YouTube, he does an interview with a historian. So these stories are out there. Every day almost, you could, if you were counting, you could probably find 2 or 3, the anniversary of 2 or 3 from Kansas who are still missing. So in the interest of brevity, I will just say thank you for letting me speak. I hope this committee will support and vote for approving the designation for a POW MIA Memorial Highway and Bridge. Thank you.
Committee questions? Committee, be sure and take time to read his testimony. There is some stories. Oh, we do have questions. There's Senator Schmidt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much for doing this. I think this is super cool. One of the experiences I keep going back to from when I was campaigning was actually when I was in Senator Clem's district once in 2021, and I met a fireman who was on the USS Pueblo that was captured by the North Koreans during the Vietnam War. And Stephen Welk was actually from McLeod, Kansas. And the case of the Pueblo is one of the cases that every naval officer learns when they're acceding to the Navy. And just that conversation with him during that parade really just stilled me. So I hope that we can help get the word out to the chapters that you guys have in Leavenworth and all across the state so people know about this highway. Thank you very much.
I'll just say that it's long overdue and it's the right thing to do. Thank you.
Senator Byers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And hello, Glenn. I'm very new to you. I'm your senator for Clay County, just elected, so I'm happy to help you in any way. Can you tell us what fundraisers Or do you have money in hand already for your signs? Or are we going to do some events that Representative Bill and I can pop into?
I started this with the idea that I'm going to bring some more people that are more knowledgeable on fundraisers and how to organize and fundraise for that. So I'm going to hand this off to those folks. My Commander John is going to be leading that. I'm not sure exactly how this works. I know that money has to go to KDOT prior to these signs going in. And so we'll definitely be holding fundraisers with our local VFW. And there are many other veterans groups in Kansas, which I'm sure will support and be interested in this, as well as riders. So,
Well, I'm happy to help. Just let us know what you're doing and we'll be there, so. And then help you with KDOT with the final payment and such. And then a sign unveiling. We can do that as well. So let's work on that together.
yes, we'll definitely have we're not going to just put the signs up. I think we'll have some unveilings, hopefully, for the bridge and the highway.
Yes. Well, thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Tyson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for being here, and thank you, Representative Bloom, for all your work on this. I got to say, if the committee doesn't know, they chose one of the most beautiful locations in Kansas for this. I travel that highway. It's one of my favorite drives, it and out by Lincoln, Kansas. Both happen to be in Senator Bowers' district, so thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Appreciate it. Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to testify as a proponent? Anyone wishing to testify as a neutral? Or an opponent? Seeing none, we'll close the hearing on 2124. We'll turn our attention to the hearing on House Bill 2031. Thank you, Representative Bloom. Adam?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2031 would permit driving school instructors and motorcycle driving school instructors to possess a driver's license from another state, not just the state of Kansas. Under current law, a person who would be a driving instructor is required to have a Kansas driver's license. The bill originally just applied to motorcycles, driver's license instructor. However, House Committee expanded it so that all driving instructors would either possess a Kansas driver's license or a driver's license issued by another state, as long as they comply with all the other requirements. And for motorcycle instructors, they would have to have either the Class M driver's license, which is the Kansas motorcycle driver's license, or an equivalent license allowing such an individual to operate a motorcycle for another state, in addition to having successfully completed all requirements to be a driver's license instructor. So essentially, the gist of the bill is that individuals would not be required to just have a Kansas driver's license. They'd be allowed to have a driver's license from another state to be eligible to be a driver's license instructor in Kansas. And with that, I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Committee questions? Senator Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is this to be a motorcycle driver instructor or any type of license instructor?
It would apply to kind of the two categories. It would apply to all driver's license instructors, but then it would also apply to motorcycle, as long as they have either the Class M in Kansas currently or what would be an equivalent in another state.
So to be a regular licensed driving instructor or motorcycle license instructor?
If you just have your traditional Class C in Kansas, you would not be able to, which is for the traditional driver, you couldn't then be a motorcycle instructor. You would have to have the designation of the motorcycle to lawfully be a driver instructor, if that makes sense.
As long as you had a license from another state for either category, you could do the instructing here in Kansas.
But you couldn't have, you would have to have the motorcycle to also in another state to be a motorcycle instructor in Kansas, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Adam, if you had a Class C in another state, then you could teach Class C in our state?
That would be, yes, the true.
Excellent. Thank you. Senator Clays.
Do you know when or how long you have until you have to get a new license if you move into our state?
I hate to, top of my head, I have to look into it. I know there is a time period. I'd have to check into that exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions for Adam? Seeing none, thank you. First up as proponent, we have Zach Denny.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I was intending this to be written-only testimony, but that's okay. I love to get up and talking in front of you guys. So we didn't request this bill. We did ask for it to be amended to apply to the standard driver's license, just because from what I've heard, there is a struggle to find driving school instructors in the state of Kansas. So we just felt that that should be expanded to the standard driver's license as well. The Department of Revenue does oversee the driving schools in Kansas. You still have to go through application processes, and I think in part the Department of Education also has to have some requirements you have to meet before you can be a driving school instructor. So none of that is changing. Just the Kansas part, you can have a license from any state for motorcycle or standard driver's license. So we support this bill. We don't have any concerns with it. Be happy to stand for questions.
But you had it amended in the House?
We did request that amendment just because we figured if it was going to be for motorcycles, we might as well apply it to the standard licenses as well.
Thank you. Committee, further questions? Senator Dietrich.
Thank you. Sorry you're having to take my question.
It's okay.
So, you know, we do have two different kinds of driving schools in Kansas. We have the private driving schools, the driving academies, some of them are called, and then we have the driver education programs that go through our public schools. So I'm trying to quickly peruse the testimony that we got from Johnson County Community College, and I know there is an issue with trying to find qualified instructors, but if I'm understanding this correctly, this doesn't apply to any of the prerequisites that KSDE has for their driving instructors, other than you can have an out-of-state driver's license. Correct?
Yes, that is correct. The only thing that it would be changing is just that one piece of it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Senator Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for your in-person testimony, not just in writing, so you can answer questions. So appreciate that. I am also looking at the written testimony from Johnson County Community College, and I do know that they do serve a large portion of our new driver education training for the teenagers who are kind of getting newly licensed. My kids have been through that course. Do we have community colleges across the state who offer this same type of approved driver training school for driver education?
I'm not 100% certain. I know that on our website, the Kansas Department of Revenue website, we have a list of every licensed driving school in the state. I would assume that many schools across the state would offer them. I think particularly this is to address an issue in the eastern part of Kansas where there's not necessarily enough driving school instructors. But I think there's a testimony, I think in person, maybe be able to answer that question a little better for you.
Well, if he knows across the state, but no. Oh, sure. So it sounds like it's mostly an eastern Kansas issue, but yeah, if you can answer the question, if it's all right with the chair.
I mean, I could take any more questions in. Are you planning on testifying in person? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you.
That's okay.
Hold on a second. Yeah, I didn't see you on the list as testifying on
That's
this,
okay.
so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dick Carter on behalf of Johnson County Community College. And we'd submitted a written statement, but I'm happy to answer questions if I'm able. I can't speak to the other 18 community colleges across the state of Kansas. I do believe there are one or two programs, but I can't tell you which campus they reside on. So our testimony directly impacts Johnson County Community College and what this bill would allow us to do on our campus. And being right there on the border of Missouri, this is a problem for us finding qualified instructors.
Well, thanks for bringing this
Sure.
to committee then. Thanks for your testimony. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Committee, further questions? Seeing none, thank you. Are there any further proponents? Any opponents? Any neutrals? Seeing none, we'll close the hearing on House Bill 2031. Committee, I would like to turn our attention to, I believe it was a naming bill, highway naming bill we heard last Last week, 2029. Adam, could you give us a briefing?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you may recall, House Bill 2029 designates the portion of K5 Highway from the junction of K5 in North 18th Street in Wyandotte County to the junction with 38th Street. And this would be designated as the Rep. Marvin S. Robinson Memorial Highway. Signs will be placed subject to the usual requirements of payment of the cost plus 50%.
I'd like a motion, but I would like to change this date to the register. It's that time of year, we need to get some shells in conference.
Mr. Chairman, do you want to make the motion on the date? Or I'll make it. Mr. Chairman, I move that we pass out favorably with amending the register date. And I hope this doesn't get used as a vehicle.
Do we want to do this individually, or can we do it as one motion, Adam? I don't think there's an issue. We can take it as one motion. It's been moved to amend 2029 to publication in the register and to pass it out favorably. There's a second, seconded by Senator Klemp. Questions on the dual motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Committee, we will be working some bills coming up. Also, I don't know if some of you weren't in here, we did get 199, came back to our committee for the treasurers. It's my understanding that they did come up with a solution. That's about all I know. Haven't seen the solution or have any details. We will be working that bill. No further business coming before us. We're